So I've been in Paris for a few weeks now, and turns out I have a lot less freedom than I expected, and yet somehow this is still exactly where I'm supposed to be. For those who don't know, I officially fell in love with Paris like 2 years ago on my first solo trip ever. I decided to come to Paris for that, and I don't know what it was. Something was in the air. There's just something about the energy here and the way that my energy kind of like felt so in sync with the energy of the city that I just knew I had to come back. So I did it again last year for a longer period of time during a different season, a colder season, to see how I felt about it when it wasn't like bright and sunny every day. And that same feeling was still there. It was still super strong. It was still very present. And I was so almost hyper aware of how it just felt within my body, within my spirit, within my heart. And I just knew I had to be back for more than just these little vacation stints. And so figuring out how to do that became my game plan. The thing is, I tend to have a pattern of not telling people what I'm doing while I'm doing it. I kind of like to just share where I've landed once I've landed there with my people rather than bring them along with me on the journey. It's been a habit. I've tried to like let people in on things during the process, and it's just not very second nature for me. It's more natural for me to keep things to myself. And I'm recognizing that stems from similar fears that kind of impact different aspects of my life and of my personhood. Because the fear of failure and the fear of judgment, those two continue to show up in my life and in the way that I kind of maneuver situations and maneuver relationships. Even when I don't realize it, once I start to unpack and go through my journaling and dive into what the process and journey was to this point, it always goes back to those two things. And it kind of once again popped up here. I realized I knew that I was on this now new journey to get my visa to come to Paris, and I had no issue talking about it with the people I had met in Paris who were already living the life that I foresaw myself living in the future. And because they had just done the process, it made sense for me to speak to them about it and have them like give me their input, their advice. But for the people back home, it was like I knew I told a handful of people what I wanted to do. They knew I wanted to be back here. When it came to starting the visa process, to getting together my documents and having the application, even going to the interview, I didn't really tell anybody. And I realized that that again was stemming from the fear of, well, what if this doesn't go to plan? And now I'm looked at as a failure, and now I'm being judged for X, Y, and Z, or like judgments aside too, what if this just doesn't go to plan? And I think that was my biggest fear, and I didn't want to, I guess, be seen failing. And so I don't know about you guys, but I think to want something so badly, you feel so deeply emotionally attached to it, and you feel almost like a responsibility for that dream if you want it badly enough. And that's usually where I'm at once I decide to keep something private for so long. It's because I do want it that bad. And the pros to keeping it to myself is I'm not impacted or influenced by others' opinions, by others' fears and concerns. I don't have to worry myself with that being projected onto me. Because the reality is, if I'm having this big dream or this big goal, I'm probably already processing my own fears. But then to have someone else's compounded on top of that wouldn't be the most helpful for me. Another pro for me, honestly, is that something about it feels really, really special. Something about keeping it to yourself or keeping it private. It allows the energy surrounding the dreams. I feel like it makes the energy really, really potent for me at least. And I think in doing that, I become even a bit more magnetic for the things that I want because all of my energy is focused in this one thing and it's not really being dragged out to others. That's also a pro. But the con is I could have blind spots that someone else could not have. And kind of having the insight of someone else outside of me could potentially benefit me in this new journey that I had never gone on before, that I've never kind of done before, that I feel a bit lost and confused in, and I don't really know what's right and what's not. Sharing or expressing some of that to people outside of myself probably would have helped. But I chose not to do that. I chose to stick to my original plan and tell no one and go about it that way. And so that's what I did. And I decided that everything was going to be fine. I submitted my application, I had my interview, and I knew exactly which day my letter was coming back in the mail. I didn't tell anyone else that I knew what day, because again, just that worry and concern, like I didn't know what the answer was going to be, and I didn't want to like have everyone like super excited, and then have to like go and make the rounds. That it didn't happen. Come to find out, I get my letter, and I literally go into my room, lock my door, and I open it, and I got denied. It was like the bubble burst completely. I was so disappointed, so upset, so frustrated because at this point, remember, my flight is booked. I'm supposed to be leaving at a certain date. Now I have to figure out if I'm even doing that anymore. If I can do that, do I want to do it that way again? Like, all these things came up, and I was just so like, I just felt so drained. Like my body just felt like dead. Like I was just like, I don't want to deal with this right now. And so I didn't. I sat there for a few hours and just stewed. I just let myself feel it. In the midst of feeling that, I was like, this is exactly why I don't tell people anything, because now I've failed and I have to go and tell everyone. Well, I got the response back and they denied me. And so that kind of like boosted my feelings of frustration as well. It kind of like validated the fear that I had already had. But after a few hours, I was like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And so I was like, okay, I already told my people, my friends, and my family that this is what I'm doing. They know I'm waiting for it. Let me actually be vulnerable with my friends, with my people, and talk to them for real. I believe I texted 2 or 3 friends that night. I got kind of a mixed bag of responses. Some were like, so sorry this happened, but like, what didn't you do? Like, why didn't you? And I thought you knew and you should have done it. Like, it was kind of, this happened because of you, which obviously is not helping anything because now we're here. So one, that pissed me off. Then it also kind of, again, validated the same fear. Again, like, this way you don't tell people things because look at what's happening right now. So that response got thrown away immediately. For some reason, I didn't let that stop me. I ended up texting another friend, and the response was like a breath of fresh air, honestly. And she was like, I am so sorry. She's been through this because she moved to Madrid post-grad, so she's been through the visa process. She knows it's difficult. She was like, what did they say? And then the first thing she said, once I told her, she's like, okay, what can I do to help you? How can I help you? Like, what do you need? And I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that. Literally, I'm learning as I get older that one of my strongest love languages is acts of service. I hate empty words, truthfully. I really do. So when someone instinctively offers to help me and assist me in something that I'm working for, especially something they know means so much to me, I like instantly feel so loved. I feel so cared for. I feel so supported. And I was just like, thank you for existing. Honestly, thank you for being my life. Thank you. Like, that's just how I felt. I felt just like a huge wave of gratitude. And hearing that kind of like rewoke me up again. I had the initial urge to shut down, but I knew that this wasn't ending here because it was going to end with me living in Paris. So I was on Monday, I resubmitted my application again. I changed my flights to about a month later because the next available appointment was 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks later, and it takes a week to get the passport back. So I gave myself some leeway. So I changed my flights to a month later, and because I had support this time, I felt, granted, I do feel supported by my loved ones. I never want them to feel like I don't feel that from them, but I think it's such a habit for me to do things on my own because I was ultimately left to figure out a lot of things on my own growing up, becoming an adult. So it's very natural for me to want to take on the same responsibility for whatever I'm doing by myself and not include anyone in it. But the second time around, I made a much more concerted effort to include people in my process, to allow myself to open up to support and open up to people more vulnerably about the process. Again, not with everyone. I did it with the people who I knew could help. Like, that's just what it was. I think that's a good medium for me. Like, I'm not going to go around sharing everything with everyone all the time when I'm doing big things. But if I'm doing big things and I have people that I trust who also can help and assist in certain things, why not include them? So I took a new route. This time around, things felt different. My appointment and the wait to get it back and the flight and everything, it felt like it was charged with like electricity of like, this is the one. This is the one. And it was. I just fucking got my visa. I just got my visa. I've been shaking and crying for the last 10 minutes, if you can't tell. I don't even have words. This has been such a long process and journey. Oh my God, I just got my fucking visa and I moved to Paris in a week. Not for 3 months, not just for the summer, for a fucking year. The only thing going in my mind right now is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I got my approval and it felt so good. It felt so good. It also felt so good to have had included my tribe in the process with me this time and feel our collective joy and excitement and just the wave of energy that was well-intentioned and genuine and honest and supportive and loving. It amplified the entire experience for me. And I think it was that wave of like knowing like I finally have this happening and I'm able to appreciate it amongst my tribe. I think that's what meant the most to me, honestly. And I think that's why I broke down crying that day. And I'm just happy that I filmed that moment because it felt so good. It really felt so good. So yeah, I moved here. I stayed in my friend's apartment first for the first couple days until my apartment was available. Then I moved into my apartment and started living, and I was having fun and connecting with people and catching up with old people who I had seen this last time I was here. And it's honestly been really, really great up until I started to realize something. I was surprisingly, but not surprisingly, experiencing an influx of opportunities coming into my space, coming towards me. And I was very aware that due to the type of visa I have, I could not accept them yet. And that gave me a whole other like level of whiplash of emotions. Because I'm like, I got here, I'm in the rooms I want to be in, I'm connecting with people I want to be connecting with, I'm doing the things that I want to be doing, and I can't accept these. Excuse me? Like, that's really how I felt. I was like, this must be a sick joke, but it just wasn't, because that's just the reality that I'm dealing with right now. And so that became a really frustrating point for me, because it went from being on this really high of feeling all the support and love and all these things. I fulfilled this big dream, amazing, to now feeling like I'm stuck. For a few days, I was kind of like, I'm fucked. I made the wrong decision. I was honestly thinking that when I got denied visa the first time, I should have just came here anyways without a visa, and I would have been able to accept all these things and work and da 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 da. But the reality is I can't go back in time. So like, that fact that I can't go back in time pissed me off even more. It made me even more upset. And I was like, well, shit, like, what am I doing then? This entire time I thought that I was dreaming about the finish line when I was really dreaming about the starting line. And I didn't realize that. And I think me not being aware of that played a part in why the reality of that hitting me hit so hard while being here. And I really didn't expect it. And it didn't change the way that I saw Paris. It didn't change the way that I was experiencing it, but it did change the way that I was viewing I almost said my purpose, so I'll stick with it. My purpose here in a way. Like, it really made me question, like, why am I here? Why am I doing this for? But because I have experience now in not taking this on my own, I shared my concerns with, again, my tribe. I asked questions, and I decided to do a lawyer consultation, which I did. And I'm so happy I did, because after that, everything became clear again. I left with a completely new perspective that I'm so happy and grateful for. Nothing in this chapter was a mistake. This is ultimately the visa that was able to get me here now. And being here now is the thing that matters, because it's what's allowing me to meet people, to build relationships, to build a portfolio, to create opportunities, and to ultimately lay the foundation for the visa that I actually want and need for the next step. Kind of like thinking and realizing like how it's all playing out, like how every time I think I don't have an answer, I kind of like just keep going without knowing where it's going to lead me, and then the answer ends up being just a little further on down the path, like every time. And so it happened again, that I was stuck here with no path forward of how to like progress. And it turns out that I needed to be here to receive the things I'm receiving so I can use them for the next step. Like, everything's happening literally the way it's supposed to happen. And I think this is the first time that I'm really accepting that there really is no point in freaking out and stressing out about and worrying about how things are going to work out, because at the end of the day, it always is going to work out the way it's supposed to. Always. And honestly, what this has all made me realize is that I truthfully wasn't dreaming enough. The dream was to move to Paris. I'm here and didn't think about what I wanted anything else after that to look like. This is not the end goal for me. I started to think bigger and really focus on visualizing what the lifestyle that I want for myself, what does that look like? And then allow the path to reveal itself as I kind of just keep walking down it and trusting in it to reveal what's meant to be revealed to me. I'm sitting in Paris, building a life that once felt like a very far-fetched dream. And for the first time in a very long time, I'm not trying to force the next chapter. I'm just letting it unfold and allowing what is supposed to come next to be revealed to me in divine timing. Because if I really think about it, every step that brought me here felt uncertain while I was taking it, and somehow it still worked out. So I think I'm going to trust that this will too. I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling full of so much life and love, and I'm excited to see what comes next. I'll talk to you guys later. Bisous.